Okay, guys, I got the 528 hertz. It's playing in the background at very low vibration. It's said to heal your DNA. Really lovely people are really into it, so don't be scared of it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what really causes anxiety and depression, and what kind of keeps it festering and stuff. So the thing is really anxiety and depression are what we need to realize is a detox process. That's what anxiety and depression actually is. It's a detox process. So, but when it becomes, or when it's labeled or becomes a chronic illness, is when people are just constantly toxifying themselves. That's why this happens, right? So sometimes people are put in toxic environments, though, right? And you can use your imagination, dedicate your imagination to understand the scope of that sentence right there, right? Shit can happen in your life that can make you more prone to depression or anxiety, which is extra toxicity, right? But then there's also choices. Then there's agency as well, an agency that comes in where that you can start detoxifying yourself and stop toxifying yourself at the same time, right? And so a lot of people, the thing is, and this is why pharmaceutical medication is not the answer. It's not the answer, because the reason people are going to pharmaceuticals is because they have reached a limit, in the sense that they have continued to toxify themselves so much that their body has reached a limit where it's saying stop, you need to stop doing what you're doing, but they literally won't listen to that, and so they go to the pharmaceuticals to suppress the symptom, because the symptom has become too intense for them. They need to suppress it now. Instead of aligning themselves properly, they continue to toxify themselves and suppress the symptom, or attempt to suppress the symptom. Right, so common ways, or a common way that people, and that I have experience in, that people to continue to toxify themselves, is with substance abuse, or using drugs, and then also just going to the external all the time. So if you're constantly using drugs, what's happening is you're constantly impeding on the detoxification process, because guess what? Like I said, anxiety and depression is a detox process. So let's think about what that means. It means when anxiety arises and when depression arises, it is an active detoxification. So you sit with it and you breathe with it, and this is the detoxification process happening. Okay, so the problem is when you smoke weed, you do coke, you take acid, you do all these other things, you have sex, you go run to the external, you talk, blah blah blah, you play video games, you watch anime, you masturbate. All these things are giving you a sense gratification that interrupts the anxiety, it interrupts your trauma, it interrupts your depression, which are detoxification processes, right? So if you could just, for an hour a day, which you would need to stop the drugs fully to do this, for an hour a day, lay on your bed and just breathe and feel all of your torture and pain, this is an actual detoxification. Okay, and stop right there. Whoever right there is thinking, oh, well, my thing is different, it's not different. You're not stuck with it. It's a detoxification process, and that thought right there is the reason you're still stuck with it, because you think it's actually different. Realize you don't know how your trauma will be expelled. You don't truly know what's going on in that area, and that all you need to do is let it show itself to you, is let it leave you by stopping your external sensation seeking and denial of the detoxification process. Okay? During this process, you may realize that you need to make a lifestyle change, right? A lot of people who are whipped by the institution, not your fault. This is a lot of people. They might be roped into a certain lifestyle choice that is really not good for them and is really toxifying the shit out of them, but they've been institutionalized so much that there's a visceral fear behind it that is keeping them in the toxic environment. Okay, so it's literally being stuck between a rock and a hard place. And so why is that visceral fear there? Watch my video called "It All Comes Back to God." It's the thumbnail of the MS Paint with the heart on it. Okay, that will explain why that visceral fear is there. I'll explain it very quickly, but that video goes more in depth. Your visceral fear to fit into the institution is your lack of unconditional love for the self. It's your denial of the reality of the self. It's you assuming you need to finesse the external world to love yourself and to feel fully satisfied. And that's because of your conditioning. Because you came in fully loving yourself and you came in fully satisfied. But your conditioning told you that you need to go finesse the external world. And instantly when you accepted that, you stopped loving yourself unconditionally. You stopped realizing you have unconditional love for yourself, and you stopped realizing that you're fully satisfied. And you instead made conditions for this. Right? And so the visceral fear arises because you start to feel that the condition for loving yourself and feeling satisfied is threatened. Guess what? It's always threatened because you put it on the external. That's just subconscious. But when the variable is obviously, the conditional variable is obviously threatened, the subconscious fear of not unconditionally loving yourself and being satisfied rises to the conscious, but is tied to the defense mechanism or condition. So instead of being scared that you don't love yourself, you're scared that you're going to have to quit, that you might flunk out of school. Okay. So all you have to do is stop taking the fucking drugs. Stop taking the drugs and actually feel your pain. Go get tortured. Go feel your torture. That's all you have to do. And it leaves you. Okay? This world is profoundly balanced. This is balance. This is balance. This is balance. This is balance. You really think you're stuck with shit? No. You're not stuck with anything. It's impermanent. Bless up.